Caution! You are now about to enter the no spin zone. The factor begins right now. Hi, I'm Bill O'Reilly. Thanks for watching us. Tonight, how Joseph J. Ellis's Founding Brothers impacted my career as an author, political commentator, and host. Founding Brothers is a recently released book by Joseph Ellis. In it, Ellis describes and analyzes 6 defining events in United States history. Founding Brothers is an insightful look on the characteristics our founding brothers had and how they shaped the country. Ellis's opening chapter is my favorite, and it's the book's most exciting. The duel recalls the events of the most famous duel in American history between Alexander Hamilton and then Vice President Aaron Burr. This chapter illustrates the unparalleled compassion the Founding Fathers had for what they believed in. The fact that 2 men would be willing to stare death in the face to defend their honor and ideals. And even though that doesn't happen as much today, you just can't find that type of compassion today. Their compassion motivated them to eliminate the other, seeing him as a threat to what they thought was the best for their country. It's compassion like this that motivates me to stand for my beliefs relentlessly in the virtuous world of opinions. The duel has taught me to uphold my ideas unquestionably and use that confidence to convince others that what I believe in is right. So how do we convince others to agree with us without pointing a gun in the face of our opponents? Ellis tells us of the historic dinner of Jefferson, Madison, and Hamilton's that exhibits healthy and productive political discussion. The 3 fathers were able to put aside their political differences and discuss solutions for the betterment of the country. It's their ability to do this that has encouraged me to deliberate with people of extreme opposing views. People that you would have thought you'd never see me in the same room with. People such as Chris Matthews, David Letterman, and in a more formal debate, Jon Stewart. Ellis's emphasis on character personalities are also important to consider in this chapter. Madison was confident with the proud reputation as the father of the Constitution. Jefferson was known to be extremely passive, and Hamilton was prone to melodramatics. These different personalities impacted the outcome of that evening, and impact discussions in general. And as arguers, we learn from Ellis and the Founding Fathers of the different personalities and how they greatly impact discussions. The 3rd chapter, The Silence, Ellis discusses the country's silence in acknowledging the slavery question. Of the few that called against the slavery were the Quakers and Benjamin Franklin. Franklin, who was extremely well respected, worked relentlessly to send petitions to the House of Representatives. Mr. Franklin is a perfect example of how it only takes a single idea, not bound by conformity, to change everything. Franklin's tenacious fight for what he knew was right, even though he was backed by few, is inspiring. Because of that, Benjamin Franklin is tonight's patriot. Because of Franklin, I've always stuck with my beliefs, even if they don't represent those of the majority. The opinions of others around you should never influence your opinion, which is important because sometimes great ideas and options are not accepted by the majority, which is why you must take the compassion and determination of Franklin and remember it as a reminder and as an incentive. The 4th chapter, The Farewell, really highlights the brilliance of George Washington, and more specifically, his resignation. Ellis speculates Washington feared dying in office, but not because of fear of damaging his personal pride. Washington believed dying while in office would damage the country. The only way to prevent this was to resign, a decision that shocked many. Washington doing this displayed true inner unselfishness and care for the country he loved, a characteristic rarely found in politicians today. By doing this, Washington also indirectly created the idea of a two-term presidency, a concept that would later come into effect as law. As a public figure and person, I am constantly striving to have the generosity that our first president retained, putting the country I love before any personal pride. The collaboration finally starts to set in on the relationship of John Adams and Thomas Jefferson, and ultimately the main theme of Ellis's founding brothers. Adams and Jefferson's relationship fluctuated throughout the Revolutionary War, and both men's presidencies, because of their political differences. This relationship, in a way, symbolizes the relationship between all of the founding fathers. It's these collective personalities that shaped the country we became today. From this, I learned that both personality and relationships are important, and even though the fate of a nation is not at hand, it is still extremely important to maintain both. We're all different, and it's our different personalities, emotions, and beliefs that distinguish us from others and make us so great. The final chapter of Founding Brothers, The Friendship, continues to focus on Adams and Jefferson's friendship. As Adams retired and almost became irrelevant, Jefferson had strongly and eloquently stayed in office. The two frequently wrote letters to each other, which rebuilt the friendship that over the years had diminished because of their political differences. Again, this relationship symbolizes the relationships among the founding brothers. As Adams and Jefferson remembered, they had spent a lifetime together building experiences that were even greater than their personalities. They both shared the same history, fighting for freedom and what they knew was right. On the day they both died, both men respected and honored each other greatly. An important lesson, this chapter teaches me that relationships with others, no matter their contrasting opinions, are extremely important to maintain. Founding Brothers is an extremely informative, and Americans today and in the future should look admiringly to their founding fathers, as a child would to their mother or father, and learn from them. That's it for tonight. I'm Bill O'Reilly. Have a good night.